What up, you guys? As you guys know, yesterday was Father's Day. All right. How did y'all do? Was it sensitive to you in any way? Could it have been sensitive because you're a single mom or because you had an absent dad or something like that. Or maybe your dad just passed away and that just sucks in general. And for that situation, my condolences, right? Let's get into it. Narcissistic fathers create masculine women. Narcissistic fathers create masculine women. This is such a huge topic that's all over the internet. I mean, everywhere you look, there's some bitch ass man whining or whatever about how women are too masculine and women are playing the man's role and all that stuff. But why is that? Because I've never met a woman that literally, other than someone that was a tomboy and like kept being that or whatever, I've never met a woman who woke up and was like, you know what I would love? I would love to do the job of like a man. I would love to do all of his shit plus my own shit, right? I would love to build a house and menstruate at the same time, right? I want to chop firewood while giving birth to babies. Right? You see how ridiculously cray that sounds? Okay. What men are doing right now is actually, I want to say, I was going to do a video about what I want to call mass narcissism, the war against women. Should I write a book called that? Probably. But if you want to write a book and it's within you, you can totally have that title. I'll read it. I'll buy it. But it is mass narcissism and the war against women, right? Because men are really attacking women at an all-time high rate. I mean, they always have, but since it's not the 50s anymore, where we're June cleavering up, which is hot if you want it to be, but at the same time, if you don't want to do it, then that's cool too, right? Men are working less or working more overtime, ignoring women, refusing to play their role in the household, refusing to play their role in society and on dates and shit like that, right? And what are women doing? Women are being forced, in a sense, to do that for themselves, right? How does a narcissistic father create a masculine woman? Number one, his absence creates a sense of masculinity. Why? Because his daughter's always going to be chasing after his affection. Whether he's around or not, she's always going to, even in other men, be looking for the affection of that father figure, right? Even if she doesn't realize she's doing it, okay? She's going to be doing that shit. So if she's chasing a male figure and love from a male, that means she's hunting in some way, shape, or form. And hunting is by nature a man's nature. A man's nature is to hunt. A woman's nature is to be the one to get, like, caught and run and be all cute and pretty and shit, right? The prize. A woman's nature is to be the prize, right? Now, men feel like they are the prize. Men, honestly, I will go out and say, narcissistic mothers create feminine men. Let's talk about that shit too while we're on this little merry-go-round Ferris wheel of doo-doo, okay? Because that's what it smells like to me, right? But it's true, all right? And sometimes the truth stinks a little bit, okay? But yes, I think narcissistic mothers create feminine-ass men. That's why you have all these body boy-ass bitches out here whining and shit, which whining is considered a what? Little pansy ass, little girly girl. Like back in the day, if you were whining like and crying all the time and shit, they would be like, ew, little girl. Right? It's considered to be a feminine trait. I'm not saying that we all whine, but I mean shit. Like when you hear a man whine, that shit's a real turn off because he's real about like feminine when he's doing that shit. Nobody wants to hear a big ass dude crying and whining and pouting and shit. Alright? So, yeah, so they're doing that. Yet, they're blaming us for then being forced into their role. The narcissistic man who's an absentee father, I want to say 100 out of 100 times, right? From 1 to 100, they're absentee dad 100 out of 100 times. Never mind the ones that claim that they're in the household with their family. Even if a narcissistic male is in the household with his family, he is mentally checked out. He is emotionally checked out. Therefore, it's just a body. He may as well be another coffee cup on a dining room table with an empty seat in it that was made for him to sit at and speak to his family, right? They're creating these masculine women and then complaining like bitches about how masculine the women are, right? I don't, this is the thing, like, I don't get it, because what's odd to me about that also is most narcissistic men are on the DL anyway, and then half of society, I'm being generous actually, I want to say 75% to maybe 80% of society is gay. They just are. I mean, that's just the world that we are now in, or at least by. Same difference to me. And I am about to debate it with you. So most of these men out here anyway want another man. So then why are you fucking complaining that women are now masculine? We have been made to replace dads, right? You think a woman wakes up and wants to be the dude and a motherly role? You know how hard that is to do? To be two people? But then when you're two people, like you have to be, you're then called crazy, right? Because you're a crazy bitch, even though you really are two people in one body. And that's being generous as well, because you're also the maid, you're the chef, you're the doctor and nurse, you are mommy, you are daddy, you're the driver, you're the coach, you're the therapist, you're all of that shit, right? If you got a pet, then you're the dog walker or the caretaker of that pet, because you know the kids aren't going to do it. You are a bunch of people in one body. Who wouldn't come off as crazy when you have to put on so many different hats? Right? And why do you have to put so many different hats on as a woman? Because see, when daddy didn't do it, daddy left mommy to do it by herself, right? And then mommy more than likely couldn't have as much time for you in the way that she would have had he been there. So then you then learn to do shit like that, right? And if it happens to you like it happens to me, I had a single mom, then I became a single mom, and all that shit just recycles itself to where you have to be more masculine. Women honestly are always on the lookout for trouble because of the fact, literally, that you own a vagina. There's always somebody trying to fucking touch it, isn't it? People that you don't want, people that you kind of thought you wanted to, and people that used to touch it, that you no longer want to touch it, and there's always that strange nigga hiding in the alley that wishes he could touch it, that if you just trip in the dead of night in a rainstorm, they'll drag you in the alley and touch it against your will, right? So we're always like, right? While also taking on a masculine role of being mommy and daddy. That's crazy as shit. While then listening to the same guys that abandon us cry like bitches about how masculine we are, but while they're also on the DL actually having sex with each other. Make that shit make sense. Right? And then you have these narky mommies out there neglecting their sons whole time, making their sons feel like they're their mom's husband, right? And then pushing them away or doing God knows what. Hopefully it's not molesty shit when they're young. Probably so, right? And creating these fucked up ass monsters that are really, these new narcissistic men are just gigantic chicks with dicks. For real. They're the real chick with dicks. Who else are you left to be able to be but masculine? Because they're whining. They want you to chase them, right? The new man wants you to chase them. And not only do they want you to chase them, they are replacing us at rapid speeds with other men. And not only are they replacing us on the DL and outwardly gay with other men, right? And they're trying to completely annihilate the woman by becoming them. These dudes are chopping their dicks off. right? And throwing them away with yesterday's recyclables and becoming women. And then kicking women out of their own sports teams, kicking women out of, did you know for like Women's History Month and Women's Month or whatever the fuck, there's a bunch of dudes featured as like, I think a dude won Woman of the Year. So how is it all these men are allowed to be whiny piece of shit little bitches because women are becoming masculine? Could it be, like always, that women are beating men at their own fucking game by default? Oh yeah, I want all the smoke for this video. Because I'm sure a lot of little pussy ass little dudes want to like want to unwrap their hand from their two little tiny balls and give their little 2 cents that I'm going to put in the piggy bank to nowhere. And it won't even equal $1. Give me your 2 cents. Okay. Wine. Right? So yeah, I think narcissistic fathers and men, they honestly turn women into this, I'm going to say Frankenstein so that you understand. I'm going to use the word Frankensteinian version of what these new age women are. And they're a compilation, right, of all these neglected lady parts glued in and mixed in with male attributes because they have to be, right? And instead of men just getting it together, they're whining, waiting for women to come home, bring home the bacon, fuck them, take care of the kids, you know what I'm saying, and pay more than half the bills, if not all of them, while they're sitting pretty. Right. Anyway, I don't really know if this particular thing made sense because there's so much in it, right? That I can't really squeeze it into one video that's not like insanely long. But thinking of that on Father's Day really was like, wow, you know, these men are really, they're sitting around cackling like hens, like in a bitch fest about how women aren't doing their jobs when women are actually literally doing their jobs, if that makes sense. Do you know what I'm saying? We're so busy doing their jobs that it's hard for us to do our jobs. Okay? And while we're doing their jobs and also a harder version of our jobs, they're simultaneously trying to replace us because mommy couldn't get it together and couldn't hack it. Right? Okay. So, yeah, happy Father's Day to all my single mommies out there. It really is one of those things that I'm sure, like, you know, I definitely take pride in the fact that I have gotten it to a science to be able to take care of my kids. But it's also really sad to log on to any form of social media every day and it be bombarded with a bunch of whiny ass dudes. Half of them dressed like women, half of them not, but on the DL, complaining about how masculine we've become when it's their feminine, or I guess it's not just their feminine attributes. It's their bitchy whininess and their desire to compete with us, right? That has caused us to become masculine, because the male narc competes with his woman. He doesn't elevate her in any way. Ever. The only reason she will elevate is trying to get away from him. She learns more shit to do. She hones in on her craft more to get away from his weird ass. And then by default elevates. Right? But it's never because he actually intentionally helped her. It's because he wanted to be her. I'm kind of convinced that every narcissistic man has homosexual tendencies. My dad included. They want to be a woman while eradicating us. Anyway, I hope you guys had a really great day today and yesterday. I have like such a great video coming up for you guys sometime soon. I will give you a heads up for that in like a day or so or whatever. But I love you guys, and yeah, man. I kind of had this weird revelation too. Like, I don't really remember like how this is relevant to this video, but y'all remember on the movie Titanic where Rose, I think her name was Rose or something, let Jack like drown. I felt like that door was big as fuck, boy. If I was him, I would have pushed that bitch off or to the side. Bitch, you gonna have to share this door, bitch. Right? Because I guess I thought about that scene in that scenario, because men assume that, and they're sinking, by the way. Men today's man is a fucking sinking ship in the middle of nowhere. And we as women are not obligated to sink with your bullshit ship with a hole in it, bitch. And so when I thought about that, I was like, shit, I ain't drowning with you. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna drown for you, bitch. You gonna have to make space on that door, bitch. We going together, motherfucker. Like, you gonna have to make space on that door. I am not drowning with your sinking man ship. I'm not doing it. So if it means it makes me more masculine, well then, Tim the Two-Man Taylor out here, whatever. I'm not singing with your ship, bitch. Anyway, made me think about that Titanic scene. Love you. Bye.